Hello, my name is Binx, and today I'm starting a brand new Minecraft world after about 2 years since the last one. I'm on a brand new world. I would have liked to start recording from the start, but this world was more just a world for me, just to play the game. This world is called Double Dash. The reason it's called that is because me and Buffcraft both started a world on the same seed at the same time to see what we'd both come up with. He eventually quit his world, so he started playing on mine with the land feature. So the first thing I'm going to do today is give you a little tour of the world before we get started into the project I have planned today. The seed for this world is right over here in this little forest, and just this way there is a plains biome where we built all of our starter base, you could say, farms and builds. The reason we picked this location is because there's a village, and villagers are the most overpowered mechanic in the entire game. We will show this off later because this is going to become important. The first thing I built after that was this pumpkin farm, sugarcane farm, and animal pens, although the animal pens used to be over here where this stone farm is. After all of those, I beat the game and came back immediately to build this gunpowder farm or creeper farm so that I could have a steady supply of rockets. And this thing has actually been very productive. It only works when you're on the AFK spot, but just an overnight session gave me this much, which will last me for quite some time. I believe I may have mixed up the order a little bit because I think this iron farm might have been built before that. However, the iron farm is just as important as the gunpowder farm because it supplies iron, which I can then trade to the villagers for emeralds, and that's our main source of emeralds. For the rest of the farms, I'm not quite sure when each one got built, so I'll just quickly glance past each one quickly. This one is a cobblestone farm. It is super fast. Over here we have the incredible bone meal farm. It's not as fast as I'd like it to be, however, it is a lot better than like a skeleton spawner. This is our crimson and warped, I believe they're called, tree farm. This thing is pretty good. You don't have to be in it for it to work. It's automatic. This one is our 5 type tree farm: birch, spruce, oak, acacia, and jungle tree farm. This is a mud farm that doesn't work, but I've never bothered to remove it. Over here we have our bamboo farm, built before 1.20. It was made so that we could get all the nice bamboo wood, which we're going to need a lot today. So that ended up being quite useful. This is the mangrove tree farm built by Buffcraft, along with the propagule farm to fuel it. Let's see, what else do we have? If we fly over this way past the villager box, as I like to call it, we can find 2 more farms that were necessary just for the project we're building today. This flower farm and this flower farm for blue and orange dye respectively. The last few farms in the overworld are over here. I already mentioned the stone farm, I believe. And then we have these ones, which are all built by Buffcraft. So this one is a super smelter. It's kind of problematic because the fuel we chose is carpet, and carpet cannot smelt. It cannot smelt a full item, so it has to be like totally full for it to work. Over here we have a sheep farm for all the different colors, plus a bunch of white at the end. And over here we have a cactus farm, also built by Buffcraft. This thing is way faster than I ever thought it could be, and I used it a lot for the dye, because green plus blue dye is cyan dye, which we needed for the build that we are going to be working on today. The next few farms are all in the nether. There's actually quite a few, but I physically cannot remember where some of them are. We have a ghast farm and a wither farm, like a wither skeleton farm somewhere, but I just don't know where they are. So I'd have to go into Creative Copy to fly around and find those. But we did use them, and I got like 46 beacons from, that's where all these came from the wither skeleton farm. The first one we can see is the bee farm. This thing is really fast and efficient. It's just a pretty good farm in general. There's not much to say about it. Then up here, you can't see it without Optifine, is the gold farm. This thing is one of the first farms I built, actually. This is our main source of XP, and it is how I heal all my tools all the time. Then if we fly down here and follow this desert path and past the desert portal, we can find this froglight farm. Reason it's over here is because it has to be in a basalt delta. This thing is pretty good, and it supplies us with all of the froglights we could ever need, plus magma cream. I don't know what the magma cream is used for, except for magma blocks and a potion, but I don't know what potion. Maybe we'll need those in the future. If we fly back this way, past the middle area, there's one farm over there that is a swamp path, and there's also a whole bunch of farms this way. This is the end dimension. And this is actually really cool because this is like the first finished project in the world that is the way I want it to be for the rest of the world. The end portal room and the island itself. The end portal room is based on a design I made in a previous world. It's super cool. We've got the mini end island with the candles as the fountain, buttons. I don't know. I spent a long time designing this. It's pretty cool. It's Skulk as like a starry night sky. And if we actually hop into the portal, the end island is probably maybe the biggest project, but the project we're working on today might top that. The first thing you'll notice is the wither bar up there. I just tried to look at the wither bar. And all this carpet. Here is the end island. As you can see, it is quite a big project. It is just completely covered in black carpet. And these pixel arts. We've got the Mario Star, Koopa Troopa, Mushroom, R2-D2, Toriel, Flowey, Papyrus, Sans, and Binx. That's the reason I'm called Binxcraft, because I have a cat named Binx. He's pretty cool. And we have 3 different end dimension farms, which I will go over in a minute. I guess it's not going to be a minute. I'm just going to go over them right now. This is the Wither Rose farm. Pretty cool. I had to install these lights so that the Endermen don't teleport onto the central island. I will show that off right now. Yeah, see, they get damaged and then they immediately want to teleport over here. But the funny thing is, since they just fell from that height, they all have 1 heart, so they're easy to clean up. Then over here we have the shulker farm. This thing was a pain to construct and to get the shulker in, but I did eventually, and now we have unlimited shulker shells, which is really useful. And over here, the least end dimension-y end farm. This is a skulk farm that just happens to use Enderman as basically the source of the skulk. So you just stand here, and it moves you across. And that is our last end dimension farm. Finally, while I head over to the swamp to see the slime farm, I don't know how long this series is going to go on for, or how long this video is going to be, because doing all this tour stuff is kind of going to throw off the whole length. It could end up being about like 30 minutes long or something, because I've got big plans. But a big video is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know who's going to watch it, but as long as I'm happy with it, I'm fine with that. So now that we're over at the slime farm, here it is. It is, I can't remember who designed it. I think it was Il Mango or something, but I don't want to miscredit that. It's basically just a box with a whole bunch of brown mushrooms, and it is super efficient. I won't credit all the farms because there's just so many, and I don't know if I could even remember all of them. So that is, I believe, the final farm, excluding the Ghast and Wither Skeleton farm, in the world. So now, if we head past the path this way, is it this way? Yeah, it's this way. We can head to this is the most important portal in the entire world at this point, because this takes us to the Mushroom Island. Doesn't look like a Mushroom Island because we converted it to grass. I don't know how long this project took, but converting it to grass alone was it took quite a while. We had to cover every single block of mycelium and netherrack, and then break the netherrack to turn it into dirt. And it definitely took a while. I never actually thought I would finish it, but we did. So now we can build what we're going to be building today. And that is a massive storage room for this thing. You might recognize this thing if you saw my other Let's Play series. I really wish I could have continued it, but it's too late to go back now. So this is a reconstruction of the base I was planning to build back then, but it's about 10 times bigger and 10 times better. So now what we're going to do is go over my creative world and show the design for the storage room I have in mind, and show off how I designed this base and what it's going to look like when it's done. This is Flat Double Dash. This is my creative testing world for all things Double Dash. And it's got a ton of stuff. A lot of things that we will probably never see in the actual world, like this weird gradient. There's some stuff over here. This is a failed pixel art design. There's the end dimension stuff. There's all the base things that I'll get to in a second. And this is the villager trading hall that we're going to build in a future video. I'm not going to talk about any of this stuff in detail quite just yet, because we need to get to this and that over there, which you can't even see. But first, what we're going to be talking about is this big tower. If I come down here to floor level, you can see these signs. So this tower, this pillar right here, and this one are the two we're going to be building. All the outside towers for the base start with a 19 block square, and 19, and then 17, and then 15 the rest of the way up. This one starts at 21, then goes to 19, and then 17 for the rest of the way up. The reason that's important is because the floor levels won't match up. So I made these measurements to see the floor level is 5 levels apart. Then the next floor, it's, 7 blocks apart? And, like, while that's happening, the other ones are getting closer. So eventually, on the 8th floor, they match up perfectly. So we need to have the towers at least 8 blocks tall. I've already done all the measuring for this, so it doesn't really... I just like to highlight the fact that I spent so much time designing it, choosing colors for the base and stuff, because I wasn't happy with the previous colors. This is what I went with. And if we go over here, you can see some failed tower designs. This is horrible. We're not going to be doing that. What we are going to be doing is this right here. With the inset, the old tower did not have that. It was just the terracotta, no concrete. I did some floor testing to see where the floor should go, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Over here, I decided where the water elevator should go. And the most important thing for designing it was this over here. This is where I decided how big the hole should be. The reason it is this size is because the main tower is 17 blocks long for the majority of it. So I built the wall in 17 block long segments. So it's got 5 on each, and then a corner, and then 5, and then a corner. But what we're going to be building today is this. All of these chests, there's 43 on each side to make our mega storage system. It is absolutely massive, and it fills up the entire hole because there will be a row of hoppers right here. And I've already designed it over there, so we're going to go take a look at that. So if we just head over here to the storage system, I've done a lot more than just building the storage system. Here it is. I'll show this off first. Hop back into creative mode. It is absolutely massive. It's got 43 chests on each side, 3 rows, 2 double chests each. It is fully automatic. I've tested it. It works. And I even designed the input, and like this thing will be in the middle of the hole. I built 2 segments just so I could figure it out. I haven't built the whole thing because I'm just planning on building it in the base on the survival world. I've got measurements and stuff, previous designs, and I'll go over these right now. I don't think everything here really needs to be mentioned. I'll just say that this is the first thing I made. This is just a random test. This doesn't even work because these redstone torches lock these hoppers. But it was just a proof of concept to see how big it would be. Then I lined up every single item in the building blocks tab because we're going to be organizing it based on the creative inventory. And then I'll just kind of fly around and point at stuff that I think is interesting. This was like I had rows of 8 that I was going on with gaps in the middle, and that just didn't really work out because there'd be empty spaces and stuff. This is what I made after that. The red wool marks an empty slot because there was only 7 diorite blocks, so there'd be an empty slot here. In the new design, it just continuously goes on. So it goes oak, then spruce, and it just keeps going, then the next row, then the next row. And this is not complete because there are duplicates on each side, so it doesn't really work out. So after that, I made this, which is the final item layout, which has every single item in the game, and then this row right here is the row for stuff we're not going to be sorting. A lot of this stuff is obvious, like we don't need to sort the dragon egg or end crystals, but like jack-o'-lanterns and the carved pumpkin, I just didn't want to have. So we've got all that, but obviously the most important thing for the storage system is the storage system itself. So this is what we're going to be building in the world today. I don't know how long it's going to take. We probably won't get very far, but I want to at least get all the resources ready and maybe place in the chests just to see what it'll look like. Alright, now that I'm back on the survival world, the reason I said that the villager box would become important later is because I've already gathered most, if not all, of the items we're going to need. So I'm going to go over those right now. This is just the raw materials. I have not crafted the repeaters, comparators, hoppers, and chests yet. So what we have is 20 shulker boxes of iron ingots, 17 stacks of quartz, 4 boxes of stone, 6 boxes of redstone. This was the most difficult to get by far. I had to mine all of this by hand. I got a little bit from it from the villagers, but it was easier to mine it. And then I got 12 boxes of logs. I used bamboo logs for some of it, but they only give you 2 planks, so I had to get 2 boxes for each box. This is just the rest of the logs. Sticks, and these are just junk boxes. So I think what I'm going to do right now is craft all of these up. I have no idea how long this is going to take. I'm going to have to do a lot of math, but I will do my best to document it. As I'm getting ready to do this, this is actually one of the coolest features in 1.20 in my opinion. Being able to edit these signs is super useful because I could place down the sign beforehand and then just write on it like a chalkboard. So for this next one, I need 1.8 boxes of redstone dust. So what I'm doing is I'm just doing the math, getting every single one of these. I'm going to do all these first and then the redstone, and if I have 18 boxes of redstone dust, then I know I gathered all the materials correctly, and if not, I'm going to go back and get some more. So I'm going to get crafting. It's been about an hour, maybe an hour and 15 minutes since the last clip, so I'm just going to add my last check mark, except it's not a check mark, it's a smiley face. I don't know how to use a check mark on a Minecraft sign, so this will do. And here is everything. We have 1, 2, 3, and 3 and a bit, 3 shulker boxes and 17 stacks of hoppers. We have 2 and 11 stacks of chests. Then we have, what's this? 17? I think it's 17 stacks of redstone torches. 17 redstone comparators, 17 redstone repeaters. And is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. Also, here is Buffcraft. I told you he was playing on this world. His armor trims are much different than mine, if you'll notice. Put on your chest plate, Buffcraft. Let's get a little thumbnail shot. I probably won't even use this. So now that we have all the resources, all we need left is the item filters. So what is it? How many shulker boxes do we need?
2.3.
Yeah, like 2.3 shulker boxes of paper. And then I think that's all we will do for this episode. I actually forgot 2 more things. We also needed the redstone, and we need all of the building blocks. For the building blocks, if you saw in the testing world, we're just going to be using colored concrete, which we can just dupe with the sand duper I showed off earlier. So I probably won't record that, and if I do, maybe I'll do something fancy with the replay mod, do some sort of cool little time lapse. But for now, I'm going to go help Zane gather the paper. And just like that, after quite a bit more grinding, I have gathered every single block and resource we're going to need for the entire storage system, except for a few that I'll talk about that in the next video. But as you can see here, we have every single block we just crafted, plus all of the concrete, and I got concrete powder from the duper, and then while I was waiting for sugarcane to grow, I turned it into concrete using just this water thing right here. And then we also got a bunch of paper that we will rename later to use as our item filters in the farm. Or not the farm, the storage system. So that is the first video on Double Dash. I'll probably come up with a different name for it since that's a Nintendo game, and Nintendo is a copyright monster. So I'll have to come up with something else. But for now, my name is Binx, and thanks for watching. New video soon, Geometry Dash and Minecraft hopefully. And yeah, thank you so much for watching if you got this far, and goodbye.